Hi, everyone. I'm Liz Melcher, and I'm a talent executive for Travel Channel, where I work closely with our amazing roster of on-air hosts and experts. I'm so excited to be here today with these pioneers of paranormal television. These two paranormal investigation teams are more than just colleagues, they're practically family. And our fans made it clear that they needed to see these teams together again, and we have made it happen. And not just on any night, but on Halloween. We have them all with us now for a special Comic-Con sneak peek of their new Travel Channel 2-hour special, Ghost Nation Reunion in Hell, where we proudly bring back together for the first time in years Jason Hawes, Steve Gonsalves, Dave Tango, Amy Bruni, and Adam Berry. Hi, guys.
How are you guys?
Hey.
So Jason, Steve, and Tango are back with all new episodes of Ghost Nation, and Amy and Adam are the power duo behind Kindred Spirits, which, breaking news, has just wrapped shooting all new episodes. But before Ghost Nation and Kindred, there was a time that they were in the field together during Sci-Fi's Ghost Hunters, so we were thrilled that they were able to meet up at the largest haunted mansion in the country, Seaview Terrace in Newport, Rhode Island, for a supersized special. Now, let's get ready to tell a very spooky ghost story for our fans on Halloween. Here's a sneak peek.
Next on Ghost Nation.
Whatever is in this house, it's going to show its face to you once in a while.
Denise ended up finding a 6-pointed star.
I was terrified that it had brought a black force into the house.
It was movement, 100%.
We had some friends that investigated this place with us in the past.
I mean, it's been 5, 6, 7 years since we've investigated together.
This place is wild.
It goes down that way. Every single direction it goes down.
Recently, my father passed away.
Mr. Carey, is there anything you'd like to say to Denise?
He loved every part of this house.
This is gonna be fun.
It's like a family reunion.
That was a voice.
I cannot wait for this panel, but before we get to all of the good stuff, I just want to remind everyone at home to follow on social, tagging @Travel Channel and using #GhostNation and #Kindred Spirits in your posts. So first, I want to ask how everyone is doing. It's been quite a year so far, and I want to see if everyone is holding up okay. So Jason, let's start with you.
Yeah, we're doing great. Of course, we're taking precautions. We're all being extremely careful, and but we're doing great. We're just happy to be back doing what we love to do. It's been a crazy year, it really has.
What about you, Amy?
Yeah, I mean, we're doing very well. It was kind of surreal for a while when we were like in hardcore lockdown, and it's been a little strange back out working. We're very cognizant of the fact that we're super lucky to be kind of out and about while a lot of people are still without work or still stuck at home. So, but overall, I think this has been a great way to lift our spirits through everything.
And Steve, what about you?
We're doing great. It's been a lot of fun, seeing these guys again. And one of our first cases back was with Amy and Adam, so that was a lot of fun. One of our first times back, and was with those guys. So it's been good. Spent a lot of time with my cat, and I'm back to a bit of a life now. It's been a lot of fun.
And what about you, Adam?
Eating a lot. Just eating everything that I can find. It was really wonderful seeing everyone again and being able to work safely in an environment with our crew, which is family to all of us, and we trust them. And I think once we got into the field and started investigating, I personally felt like I could stay safe, and I felt more comfortable being out in the world, because it was scary there for a minute.
And Tango?
Oh, I'm done with 2020. I'm 2021.
Me too.
I'm done with 2020. Just like the rest of the guys, staying safe. I'm just glad that we're out there helping people while we can. So that's really the main important thing.
Well, and that brings me to, my next question is, I do want to acknowledge, you and your crews. I want to thank you guys for getting out there safely. there seems to have been an enormous uptick in paranormal sightings since the country's been on lockdown and staying home. So I'm curious what your take is on that, and also let us know how it's been ghost hunting during these uncertain times. So Jason, again, I'm going to start with you.
Well, of course, there's always an uptick in cases, usually when we come to the fall months of the year and the winter, because people spend more time in their home and they're more prone to hear things and see things at that point. But this has really, it started a whole lot earlier because lockdown. So people being locked in their home, spending all this time in their home have been experiencing things a lot earlier in the year than usual. So of course, cases have been just pouring in left and right, and we're handling them through all our groups, our UPRO family and TAPS family and everything else, and we're getting them out. But we're not expecting anybody to go in and investigate until everything is clear. But there's definitely been a huge uptick in cases, and I mean, Steve, you've seen it as well.
Yeah, there has been. It's kind of interesting, and I agree with Jay in the respect that I do think a lot of that is because people are indoors more. But on the other token, the other side of that, they're indoors more, maybe experiencing what they otherwise wouldn't experience. But I think it's mostly because people are, especially during the pandemic. Luckily, people were smart enough to stay inside.
Yeah. What about you, Amy?
I think it's definitely that people are just, the world is a bit quieter when you're locked indoors and you notice more things happening around you. But I also just think that the overall energy shift of just the stress that's put out there right now and what everyone is going through, I feel like spirits might sense that too. And that makes them kind of reach out more often or make themselves known more often. I think there is this kind of, worldwide level of stress that I think is probably adding to a lot of the activity people are seeing.
And Tango?
I mean, everybody's pretty much said it. It's really people staying indoors. I mean, there were pandemics in the past. Maybe they're recognizing that. They're like, oh, there's another pandemic, and now they're coming out. I don't know. That's a theory, but really, I think it's because people are just indoors and not going to work.
Adam?
I mean, honestly, look at the flip side. These ghosts are stuck with you in the house all day long. And these ghosts are like, why aren't you at work? Like, I just want to have some peace and quiet. So I think of course they're making themselves known, because they're like, wait, why are you here all day? You think your pets are staring at you. You should see what the ghosts are actually doing.
Okay. Well, now let's get into talking about this special. So what was it like to be back together filming again? Jason?
Well, honestly, it was great. It was like we never really lost any time together. And Amy and I had talked about doing this quite a while back, as well as with Adam and stuff. So just to be able to be on a local investigation, they were all local at the time, and bring them on, it was wonderful. I mean, Amy and I had been friends long before she was even involved with investigating in the past with me. And Adam, of course, he came years into it, and we're just a big family. We really are. And it was so nice to be able to see each other again, work with each other, see how we might have changed over the years, just with our investigation styles, and go from there. But they were wonderful. And I definitely look forward to doing it again.
Amy, what about you?
It was just like putting on a comfy pair of shoes or something. I don't know if that makes sense. We literally just fell right back into investigating together. It was like no time had passed. It was really strange, actually. Steve and I were investigating together at one point, and we realized we had actually never investigated together on Ghost Hunters in all the years we had been together on that show. We were like, wait a minute, we've never done this. Like, I think we've investigated over the years off camera, and we've seen each other over the years off camera, clearly. But yeah, we just had this like realization. So viewers, it's a treat. It's the first time you'll see that.
And Steve, what about you?
Yeah, that's true. We looked at each other and, we said, wow, we've never investigated together before. How strange. We've known each other for over 10 years, but,
So weird.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was actually, not that I anticipated otherwise, but coming out of that case, I didn't realize how much fun we were going to have together. It was a blast. And one of my favorite parts about that case and working with Amy and Adam on it is how all of our research just sort of weaved in and created this. It was like a journey for us to follow. It was really, really cool. What a fun case, honestly.
That's awesome. And Tango?
I mean, any chance we get to, to hang out with them and see them, I mean, I'll take it. You know what I mean? I love these guys. And to investigate with them was great. We needed their help. We really did. And like how Steve said, the research and just the place is pretty huge. So we just needed the manpower too, and people we completely trust. And that's Amy and Adam.
And Adam?
I mean, it's really great to see that we've all evolved kind of in the same direction. I mean, we used to go into these really scary places and look for activity and confirm hauntings. And now we've all evolved kind of in the same way, where we want to know why, and we want to know the history behind it. And it was really great to have all of us get together and sort of, like Steve said, use that history and research and really come up with a conclusion.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about this gorgeous but incredibly scary location. Can you guys provide a little history about the mansion and who or what has been haunting it for so long? Jason?
Well, we've known the Carey family for a long time, and there's been activity. There's also been a lot of claims throughout the property of things that have happened in the past, which we wanted to get to the bottom of and see if any of those stories were true. But the place has such a history, and so many parts of the building are from other areas. So God only knows what's attached to that. But I mean, throughout the years when we were there a long time ago, I say a long time ago, like I'm really aging us, but Amy was able to have some wild experiences as well as Adam. I was, the rest of the team, and to get back there again and have a lot of different types of experiences, things that we didn't encounter the first couple times we were there, it was pretty amazing.
And Amy?
Yeah, it was interesting to go back because the activity they were reporting was so different from what we had experienced there in the past. It just seemed a lot more aggressive. And, I've known Denise since we first investigated there. And so I know how serious she is, and she's very skeptical. So for her to say that these things were going on was very serious. And also, fun fact, I had my daughter's first birthday party there. So there's a little history. I don't know if I'd heard the reports that we had the second time going in with Ghost Nation. I don't know that I would have had her first birthday party there at that point. But no, but yeah, I just think that's so funny that how everything comes around full circle.
And Steve?
The interesting thing I thought this time around in terms of what's happening there is that a lot of the newer claims that are experienced, the haunting seems to be evolving. It didn't stay back in time, in a certain era. It really does seem like it's aware of the environment, it's moving things, it's doing things there. And the same thing that, Denise and her husband and everybody are experiencing there, we were able to experience some of that as well, which doesn't always happen. And that tells us that it's not a haunting stuck in the past. This is still here with us, living in current time. And I thought that was quite cool.
Tango?
I mean, when we were first there, we barely scratched the surface with the research and the history. And this time around, we really dived really, really deep. There's so many owners that, past ownership, and, these people were really high society. They had lavish parties. They did some wacky stuff. They had peepholes. They would be looking in to try to get the scoop on other people. It was that type of scenario. But there's a lot of names. I don't want to say too much because a lot of it has to do with this episode. But it was really cool, and a lot of dark history too. Like Jay said, it was like kind of like a Frankenhouse. Things were put together from different areas of different buildings. And some of those pieces had some dark history connected with them, and we found that out, and it was pretty crazy.
Adam?
Same like everybody said. I mean, I think it's really great, and because we are all so busy and we're always doing cases and things, it's wonderful to actually go back to a place again and build our own case study, because we were there once. We experienced those things, and it was fun to look at how that activity correlated with the new activity, and did we have the same experiences? You'll have to watch to find out, but that was really cool.
Well, and after watching the episode, it seems like there's been an increase in activity since there's a recent death. So I'd love for you to fill us in a little bit about that without spoiling the episode. And I'm also curious, you're talking about the different activity, but did you find that it was a lot more active than it was before? Jay?
Yeah, well, honestly, of course, Denise's father had just passed, and the family has always been just an incredible family. And there was some other stuff that had happened prior with some people who had been there with kind of malicious intent, I guess. So the activity did spike, and Denise was looking for answers. And it's nice because these days we're able to go into these locations, Ghost Nation and Kindred Spirits, and spend a lot more time than we ever had in the past. And we can really dive deeper into the investigation, spend more time in it, and we don't feel like we're rushed. We're able to take our time. So with that extra time and resources, I mean, we're able to a lot of times catch a lot more things and just find out a lot more information than we would have had the time to do prior. So I think that has really been a huge benefit for us, and as well as Amy and Adam. It's just allowed us to really make the investigation that much more intriguing and just find that much more information and evidence.
Sure. Amy?
I mean, I know that, I think kind of along the lines of what Jay was saying, I feel like we have a lot more tools in our toolbox now. Like, I think we've thought of a lot of different ways to investigate. I know Adam and I tried this kind of like crazy experiment investigating there that got some really wild results. And I don't know that we would have thought of that 10 years ago, so but I do think the activity, I mean, I don't know that we would have gotten the same amount of activity either, but I do know it worked, and it was crazy.
Steve?
The last time I was at Seaview Terrace, I did have some experiences, but I will say this time, for whatever reason, I had an experience maybe every hour and a half, which is kind of unheard of in our world. It doesn't happen that often. So whether I attribute that to, more refined techniques and different gadgetry or an uptick in actual activity, I can't say for sure. But I do know this time going in, I had a lot more happening to me, a lot more engagement with, the paranormal that is there.
Tango?
I mean, the building, I believe, was, vacant for months. And all of a sudden, a group of people, almost like a party, comes in. And it kind of, it makes sense to me that all of a sudden we're getting pretty much direct responses. And me personally, when I was first there, I mean, that's just me. Nothing ever happens to me. But this time around, I mean, there was a lot of stuff happening directly to me. And that is pretty incredible. And that I loved it. I want to go back again. Like, now, let's just go.
Adam?
I really enjoyed the amount of activity we got, but not necessarily with the same people. So we split up a lot. And so we were investigating with each other. Like, I wasn't just with Amy, I was with Tango, I was with Sherry. It's like, I think that added to the case. And it's when people watch the episode, they're going to get to see that, because our different styles sort of melded together as Kindred Spirits and Ghost Nation, but also as individuals. And I think that hyped up the activity. We got different results, and we were able to find answers.
Well, and I want to build on something Steve said, talking about, gadgets and tools that you guys might have brought. Is there anything that you use that you haven't used before? And were there or were there other tools that were really useful that you have used before? So I'll start with you, Steve, since you had talked about gadgets before.
We implemented a lot of different types of equipment here. Some tried and true pieces that we always have, such as the EMF and of course our thermal. But new techniques, we really did a lot of experimentation, but REM pods, right? We did utilize them in a way that we got some responses that, were kept under control and not getting away from us. And that's something that doesn't always happen for us. That was pretty interesting. And I think that with the, the knowledge that we were learning, really helped up. So the coupling of techniques and gadgets, I think, worked really well in this particular case.
Jay?
Yeah, and we have been using new devices, and we've been modifying some of the older ones we've had, modifying different laser type setups, proximity sensors, things of that nature. Also, just how far cameras have come over the years have really opened up the possibility of being able to catch a lot more evidence. But yeah, we've been modifying a bunch of new things, testing out different types of equipment, and I think that has really also helped push some of the evidence that we've captured forward.
And Amy, I know you were talking about an experiment. We won't give anything away with the REM pod with you and Adam. So can you talk a little bit about just your experience? Don't tell us what happens, but your experience with the REM pod compared to maybe in other locations.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. It's so REM pods, you have to be very careful with them because they can be very easily contaminated with like outside EMF levels and things like walkie-talkies and stuff. But the Curie Mansion is so large that we were able to make sure there was nothing in their proximity that would have set them off. And so we did a really interesting experiment with some information we had learned through research and kind of used those as a trigger to see if it responded. And so that was really cool. I will say too, overall, it was great to kind of go through all their gear and just kind of go, and we were like, oh, we want this,
what do we want?
We want this. So it was pretty funny. And it was also nice to just have that many people, because Adam and I often lament our decision to just go out, the two of us, because we're like, this is a lot harder to set up with just two of us. So it was nice to have like a bunch of investigators again to kind of help each other out with the equipment and everything.
And we've been missing a lot of gear since you guys left, though.
You might want to check Adam Berry's pockets.
Well, and you talked a little bit about having a different experience this go round than the last time you all have been there, but was there anything you want to share for the fans that was new or particularly creepy that happened this go round? I'll start with Adam on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think equipment being manipulated is one thing, but the physical aspect of these ghosts in this space. I mean, there was one point Amy and I were investigating together, and I won't give too much away, but I got startled by something, and I'm giving it away. I'll stop. But it's weird because it happens. She's there, she's filming me, and we're trying to figure out what it is. And I think the spirits there really wanted their story told because they were actively reaching out to us. Almost in an aggressive way.
Jay, what about you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I also think, and Amy and Steve made a good point earlier, and even Adam, where there's different investigators who haven't really worked with each other. And the minute you put them together, the energy's different. They're giving off a different type of energy, tracking different stuff. I mean, there's one point that a bunch of us, there's like 4 of us downstairs in the basement investigating, and there's noises all around us. There's a voice. There's other things that happen that seem to back up all of those experiences. I mean, there's 4 of us down there, and we're all having these experiences at the same time. And it's being able to be backed up on the equipment. So is that because something is more prone to communicate now because the place has been empty, or is it because all 4 of us are together and it's just the energy's there for this? It was just such an incredible time, and there was just so much happening.
What about you, Tango? Was there anything you experienced that was new and different?
Well, yes, in a way. I mentioned, direct responses, and I was with Adam in the basement. And again, I don't want to give away, but we got a voice that literally says something to us that furthers our investigation down a certain path that helps our investigation. And that, to me, that doesn't happen, So thank you, whoever you were. I'm not going to say it, giving us some information that, because ghosts don't do that. They don't just, do that for us. So it was great. It was honestly amazing.
And Steve?
This time we actually spent the night. Jay, me, Tango, and Sherry, we stayed overnight. We didn't want to leave. And that was actually something I think that speaks to, because we value sleep. You know, we don't often volunteer to stay at these haunted places overnight. You know, but here we didn't want to leave, so we did. We set up cots and we spent the night, and it was pretty awesome. You know, just to be in that building, and one of the best parts is, you know, you wake up the next day with your coffee. You don't have to just reset and get back into the investigation and all that. We woke up and it's like, oh, we're here. Let's get to it.
I feel like some people were more comfortable than others, though. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Next question. Next question. Hold on. Yeah, some of us made bad choices. Bottom line.
There's nothing
In the
left.
hallway. I remember I was like, who slept in the hallway?
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, you know what? Everybody had a choice. I didn't choose my place first, so I didn't want to hear it.
Oh, sure.
You chose first. You chose
The
first.
balcony.
Well, I think Tango, I think it was you who was walking and you said, cot, sweet cot. Was that you who said that when you were?
I don't know. Maybe I was probably delirious at that point. So maybe.
So since it's October and Halloween is just around the corner, and you are some of the most experienced paranormal investigators in the business, I have to ask, what is your advice to the next generation of paranormal investigators that probably grew up watching all of you? So I'll start with you, Jay.
Well, honestly, I think don't just follow anybody else's path. Blaze your own. Just know that everybody's going to do things differently, but in return, everybody doing things differently is what helps push this field forward.
Amy, what about you?
I always tell people, think outside the box. Like, don't assume anything. You will always be surprised by the paranormal, and then pick and choose what works for you and what you like, and form your own investigative style. And it's when you get a lot of people like that who are thinking for themselves together that you start to come up with really dynamic ideas.
Steve?
I'd say, you know, right now, someone jumping into it, keep that mindset that you're going to always be learning, and don't expect it to happen right away. You know, you may go a year without having an experience, and you can't let that discourage you. You just need to, you know, pull your buckle a little tighter and keep moving.
Tango?
Basically, you know, don't think everything's a ghost. You know, do your research as much as you can. You know, make sure you're giving the right information to your client, to the homeowner, whoever, because you can be setting them down a path that's incorrect. So it's super important to know what you're talking about and really do your research.
And Adam?
I mean, don't forget to have fun. Like, we're all sitting in the dark, potentially talking to nothing sometimes, and like, we have to make fun of ourselves. So have fun and continue to learn.
Well, speaking of fun, this was incredibly fun. So I want to thank all of you. Thank you, Amy, Adam, Jason, Steve, and Tango, for being here with us today. And don't forget, on Halloween night, to tune into the 2-hour special Ghost Nation Reunion in Hell on Saturday, October 31st at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central on Travel Channel. And remember to check out travelchannel.com and follow @Travel Channel on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest news and updates. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.